So let's discuss the madness of love. Whether love is instant, sometimes across a crowded room before you've even spoken, or whether the passion and the lust come first, you're likely to feel a degree of infatuation, which is the madness of love. This is the stage when you can't see anything wrong in the other. Do any of these feel or sound familiar, particularly when you first met or fell in love? You believed that you were completely and utterly compatible. You may have felt that you'd met your other half or soulmate. Your heart fluttered when you saw each other. There were flowers, batting eyelashes, shared meals, laughter, and amazement at the coincidences you shared. There was a sense that you couldn't live apart. You spent hours looking forward to your next time together. You found yourself saying or feeling, "I feel like I've known you all my life." In fact, in some ways you had, because this new person had some very strong similarities to your childhood caregivers. Falling in love is not so intense for everyone. For some it's more gradual. For others, being apart feels unbearable. You realize that you miss seeing that person and you call and text frequently. And when you are together, you seem to know each other's thoughts. You complete each other's sentences and you know exactly what the other one wants because, well, it's exactly what you want too. The early stages of romantic love, whether you call it lust or infatuation, brings out the best in people. Both homes are always tidy and personal grooming is done with special care. You make an effort and you're careful to hide any parts of you or your habits that you think will turn the other off. Romantic love is a mysterious attraction when you can feel moments of absolute ecstasy and at times you feel like you're going mad. It is in fact a form of madness, as shown by a recent Harvard Gazette research paper, which you can find a link to in the notes to this video. Romantic love gives us a taste of what it feels like to be fully alive, to be at our most loved and loving selves. When we encounter a person who matches what we are seeking, our body is flooded with natural chemicals called neurochemicals that make us feel excited enough that we drop our defenses and experience this full aliveness. What we're really falling in love with is our aliveness, but we think it's the other person. This is transient because it's drug-induced, but it's a positive emotion designed to bring two incompatible people together for the purpose of bonding and making them willing to stay so that the mutual healing of both can take place. This first stage of an adult love relationship can last anywhere from a few days to a few weeks, to usually a maximum of 3 years, depending on various factors such as the frequency of contact and the rapidity of commitment. But please remember, it's temporary. That overwhelming feeling when you first meet someone doesn't last. It's not meant to last. Sooner or later, we need to get on with the real work of the relationship. The romantic love sticks around long enough to bind two people together, and then slowly or suddenly it disappears. It may be when you start living together or when the first baby arrives. My clients often say that seemingly overnight, their dream relationship can turn into their biggest nightmare. Perhaps that's how you are feeling or have felt. When you were in the throes of the romantic phase, you could do no wrong, and now you can do no right. The person who was your greatest fan is now your worst critic. Adoration is replaced by nagging. Right now you might be doing this course because you've noticed yourself thinking, is this the person I fell in love with? We used to be so compatible. We agreed on everything. How can my partner think that way, act that way, say those things? They fooled me into believing they were someone else. So what happens after romantic love? When a couple moves on from the dazzling dream of compatibility and heat of passionate desire, they can get very grumpy. They will be desperate to end the pain and disappointment of finding that first love, lust or infatuation, whatever you want to call it, was an illusion. So they separate, only to find that they repeat the pattern with someone else. Some people never get out of this stage and repeatedly form new relationships with almost the same person each time. Or if they can't bear the thought of dividing everything up, they accept the way things are and they think this is the way it's got to be, and they resign themselves to living parallel lives in the same house without any true connection. They assume that this is as good as it's going to get, but they feel deeply unhappy and they think that something's terribly wrong with them, you. But let me reassure you, romantic love is just the first stage of every relationship and it's supposed to fade. Unfortunately, this transition from the romantic phase to the conflict phase can be painful and hard, mainly because we don't understand what's going on and we can find that agony can replace the original ecstasy. This is one of the key theories underlying the work of Harville Hendrix, who founded the Imago approach, and other theorists. I suspect that you found it true yourself. There's a first rush of delirium, followed by disappointment and realism. The key take-home message for you today is not only that this is normal, it's healthy. So please don't throw in the towel at the first sign of an argument or a sense that the infatuation is fading. You have been attracted, so unless you've found out that your new partner is abusive or lacks social or cognitive skills that you know will drive you mad, or has personality characteristics that you know are a deal breaker, then hang on in there, please, hang on in there. Here's the surprising truth. We all marry our mothers or fathers. And let me explain this a little. When our needs are not met as children, we refer to this as childhood woundings. And as an adult, you become sensitive in the present to what was missing in the past. Our unconscious minds are set up so that the only way to heal those wounds is to have someone in the present with the same traits as our caregivers. It's through our present relationships that we learn how to give our partner what they need and to receive what we missed out on as children, but still need as adults. You may find the idea of marrying someone who's really a composite of your parents a bit strange or upsetting. We often hear couples say, maybe when they argue, "You're just like your mother," or "You're just like my father." And the reason you felt you knew your partner forever when you first met was precisely because they have the positive qualities of your parents and also because they have the negative qualities of your parents. Unconsciously, we are drawn to that special someone who has the best and the worst characteristics of our caregivers combined. You may be thinking, but wait, there's no resemblance between my partner and my parents, and they may not look like your parents, and on the surface they may not act like your parents. But you will end up feeling the same feelings you had as a child when you were with your parents. This includes the sense of belonging and love that you felt with them, but also the experience of disappointment, of not getting all your needs met, and of having to disguise and hide parts of yourself that you feared they disapprove of. Attached to this lesson is a downloadable PDF activity called the Imago Workup, and it helps you to see the characteristics you unconsciously seek in your ideal partner. This is the person we call your Imago match. You will find doing this extra work very revealing and interesting, both in understanding yourself and your partner.